How do we go from like and then just so deep?
And we're not afraid to answer each other's questions. Like, we're not like, oh, I won't answer that on camera or anything like that.
Well, what I love is like we
actually
prone each other to go deeper. I feel as though you killed this. I was like, okay, but what about this? But go deeper, Bergs. Like, what about this? Do you think that's why you do? You know what I mean? Like, we just kept niggling.
Just when you think you're the deepest you can go, it's like there's another door and it goes further down. There's another set of stairs.
I think what's good about the pod is that you and I are both good at asking good questions. I'm not always fucking great, but like,
yeah.
When we're in the zone, I feel as though we ask good questions that prones a little bit more like deeper responses.
And it's fucking rewarding as well. You're like, I've never thought that before. Let's fucking go there. Let's see what this really is.
Dude, I was literally learning more about myself in that episode. I'm like, that's the fucking gold, man. Like, that fuck the listenership. Like, this is actually, there's so many good positive wins out of doing this pod.
Mate, we're back. Quick turnaround.
A very quick turnaround. I was trying to find a meal of the week, but I haven't had many meals since the last episode, so...
Bear market can't afford to eat, mate.
But dude, Dubai, man, I've fell in love with Dubai.
See, you've been there for a week and a half. Tell me all about it.
I've actually fallen in love with Dubai. Now, I did say this to Dave, our operations manager this morning. Apparently, I fall in love with every place I go, he tells me, but I genuinely feel as though like I've fallen in love with Dubai. So the first few days, right, I was here, I was like, fuck this place, it's different. I don't know what's going on. It's confusing. Dude, now I'm in love. People are so nice here. There's so many different cultures. Everyone's just so friendly. No one gives a fuck. Like, you could have, an Arabic person, there, Swedish, German, Chinese, Filipino, Australian, American, Canadian. No one cares, mate. Like, everyone's just so nice. The service here is amazing. Everywhere you go, everyone's like treating you like a prince. You come in, the hotels are so nice. Wow. They've got like laid out towels on the ground, and they bring you bags up, and they're helping you in the elevator. The food's brilliant. Weather's great. Doesn't rain here. Dude.
Weather's great. It's like
50 degrees. First few days I was dying. Now I'm actually like genuinely enjoying it, man. It's really good. But what...
You worked out how to live in the desert?
Well, I haven't been out of the desert yet, to be fair. But it's funny, right? If you look at this place in a map, if you go to Google Maps and you search Dubai and you look at all the places around you, you're like, oh, Jesus. Like you're next to Iran, Iraq, like this is probably a scary place to live.
Yeah, man.
But I'm becoming accustomed to it. But one thing I haven't become accustomed to is the nightlife. I went out on Saturday, and the stuff I saw in Dubai going out was insane. So Dubai, right? For starters, no one pays tax here in Dubai. I think there's a 5% sort of, I don't know, something that they pay here. So it attracts whatever. But it attracts a lot of wealthy people. But there's also a lot of wealthy families and stuff here. A lot of oil money, a lot of people from India coming over. There's just a lot of money here. Now, what do people do with money? With a lot of money? They like to spend it, Bergs. Believe it or not.
They spend on wild shit.
Now, one thing that Dubai does great, there's always an upsell, mate. If you have the money, you can get anything you want here in Dubai. It doesn't matter. And I witnessed some of this stuff on Saturday night. So, first of all, we went to a beach club during the day. So this is like a hotel. It was called Five Palms. Probably the most like, I don't know, one of the top rated like beach clubs. So you basically think of a beach club, like there's no sand, it's like a pool party, right? Everyone's in the pool, but it's all built around having tables. So you book tables. So what you do is you book a table in advance, you get table, you get service, you get food and drinks, whatever you want. I arrived a little bit late, my friends were there already, and there's this group next to us, Bergs. Maybe 7 dudes. They've got probably the biggest booth in the place. And I'd been there for about 20 minutes at this point. And within this 20-minute period, 3 times they had booked champagne bottle service. Now, that is basically where you get 4 bottles of champagne that they stick like fireworks in the top of it, like a firecracker. And there's this ladies come out, with basically naked ladies come out, and they're doing these dance, and they're like, showing you these bottles, right? Now, each bottle of champagne was probably like 4,000 dirhams, so about $2,000 a pop. So, $8,000 every time. Wow. Within 20 minutes, they'd done this 3 times. So they'd spent $24,000 on this champagne. Now, do you think they'd drink this champagne, Bergs? If you're paying $24,000 in 20 minutes for champagne, do you think you'd drink it? Fuck no. These guys are shaking that champagne, popping the cork, and just spraying it over everyone. spraying on themselves, spraying the pool,
amazing.
spraying it everywhere, and they just order another round. And I was like, what on earth is going on here? Anyway, it gets better. So the sun goes down. Once the sun goes down, everyone leaves. Beach club's over, right? So we go out to this nightclub called Blue. Now, Blue nightclub is one of like apparently a premium nightclub, whatever. We get a booth there with some friends as well. And we're in there, and I think the booth was like 4,000 dirham, right? So we all pitched in 4,000 dirham. So it's about $2,000, $1,700.
It's a lazy 2Gs, mate.
So you get it's like 6 people and you split it up. So it's like $200 or $300 each, right? So and that includes drinks. So you like, it's not just for the booth. That's like, okay. It puts in the bar tab. But how much do you reckon a bottle of vodka, for example, is in these fucking places? But they bring out the iPad, right? The cheapest.
Just vodka.
Oh, give me a guess.
Hang on. I reckon like the cheapest vodka, probably about $500.
Cheapest bottle of vodka was 1,800 Australian dollars. 3,900 dirham. The cheapest, 700 ml bottle of vodka. So one bottle of vodka, basically, that your booth's done. So, you get a few drinks. You probably pay $200 or $300 each. So it's like, it's pretty expensive. But Bergs, these guys down at the front of this stage. Now, this nightclub, by the way, is not your normal nightclub. You think about a nightclub, you go and you dance around. No. This nightclub was for like, there was a lot of basically rich people there. And it's all built around tables. So you think of like a fashion walk, like what's it called? Yeah. That's where the DJ is. Catwalk. DJ's there. No one around him. He's just up there like on a big podium. And then it's like an auditorium of tables and booths. 2 levels. So it's just all built around people getting a table and just spending a shitload of money. So we had like 1 bottle of vodka and I was like, man, I'm done. I'm not paying any more. Like, fuck that. I'm just take it all in. These guys down the front were buying bottles of champagne. So it's more than the beach club. These guys, we're probably talking 9,000-10,000 dirhams a bottle of champagne. 4,000 or 5,000 Australian dollars per bottle. So they're getting 3 or 4 bottles at a time. The ladies coming out, doing the dance, bottle service. Woohoo! Everyone's like having a great time. Do you think they'd drink this champagne, Bergs? Do you think they'd spray it, Bergs?
Of course not.
Of course not. What were they doing, Bergs? They were pouring it out. They were undoing it, getting the champagne and just pouring it in the bucket of ice. Like, not to drink, just to pour it out. Like, I was like...
That's wild. So no one else can have it.
But no one was doing anything. They're not drinking it. They're literally just... It's like buying a 10,000 dirham bottle of champagne and pouring it all out and then doing it again. Like...
This is wild. Is this like a signal of wealth? Where it's like you're so rich, you pay the money so the ladies come out, do the dance and whatever. And then it could also be like, you don't drink or anything like that. So you just... Get rid of it.
This is a signal of fuck you money. This is a signal of fuck you money. This is, I've got so much money, I pay thousands of dollars for something I don't even want, and I'm just going to pour it out and everyone can like watch it.
And I'm literally just pouring it down the drain.
I'm do it again.
And the money just comes back tomorrow.
Insane, right? And the lifestyle here in Dubai is like you drive, like this is for the rich folks. They had their drivers, they pick you up wherever you want. They'll stay, they'll pick you up. Like the guys that were taking me around here in Dubai, he's got his own driver. They pick you up, they drop you off, he lives with you. I went to this guy's birthday on the weekend. It was an Indian family. They have a cook, they have a cleaner. They cook all the food, they clean after you. They pick you up, they drop you off. It is like the life of royalty, mate, here, if you have money. And I've witnessed it. It's insane.
That's so interesting. This is like... in India as well, even if you're just a middle-class family, you still have servants. Like you have someone that'll come in and cook for you. You have someone that will drive you around. It's a real service industry. Someone will come along and sweep like your front steps for 50 cents or something like that. It's just completely different when you live in those like generally Asian countries with the service industry. But this is like next level, man. When you get that... I still remember this story my mate was telling me. And he goes over to Dubai a bit and he knows... quite a lot of the sheikhs that are there. And he was saying like literally he saw one guy, it's like he's one of his friends, he's like got a magazine of planes, fucking aeroplanes, man. And he's like flipping through and he's like, I'll have this one, I'll have this one, I'll have this one. And you're like, what the fuck? I think this guy was like, just him, not his family, was something like 50 million a day he was getting from oil money, which was just like, you can't even fathom that amount of money.
But like,
where you're like, holy crap, we've got so much money that it just becomes worthless.
Yeah.
Like, there's just so much more tomorrow. You couldn't possibly spend it all.
But I feel as though Dubai is set up to just take people's money. Like, it's an endless pit. Like, if you think about Melbourne, right? If you've got that much money, what are you going to do in Melbourne, right? You could get out top level hotel room at Crown. You go to a nightclub. But dude, like here,
yeah. If I came over to you with Melbourne and I gave you, let's say, $100,000, what on earth are you going to do for $100,000 in Melbourne?
what like, get a plane?
Would you even know?
What would you do? Like, get a plane to Sydney? Like, fucking whoop-de-doo. Like, you know,
get a plane to Sydney.
Like, awesome. That sounds great. Like,
so
here,
like, what did you go out to a fancy dinner? You might go on a helicopter ride. You might bloody hire a place out for maybe $10,000 a night. That's insane. You might do a bit of gambling. Like,
dude,
what
here
are you
you go out to Salt Bay. You buy gold steak for fucking $10,000. You go out to the clubs and spend $100. You then get on your private jet and fly to Greece for the night. Go chill over there. You come back. You stay in your $16,000. This I had a meeting the other day with an investor that was staying in a hotel that was $16,000 a night. It was insane. This place, man. Like, there is just money. The other thing too at this nightclub, right?
Are you like, bro, just stay one less night and give us the money, invest in the company, mate?
Literally, man. Like, just go like, downgrade the budget for a week, and then we'll take the money. But and there's just so many, like, it's also filled, like, this nightclub, this premium nightclub was filled with escorts, and that's not really for me. But there was, you walk in, they've got like 15, 20 escorts sitting in the bench, basically waiting for like guys to arrive, and they just come up and, greet you. And I was like, no, like, I'm okay, I'm fine. But that's what they do, and that's all that. There was people at the beach club, dude. There was guys there, like, not a chance they were like organically with the women they were with. That's what I'm saying, and they've got these booze, and there's just like, this one dude, and you look at him and you're like, how on earth are you with these, women? But it's just paid.
The company was paid for,
mate.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just a whole new world, man. It's insane.
This is really interesting, where during COVID you couldn't really fly around that much, and there's like, you kind of like hear the stories about, the Instagram models flying out to Dubai for a while, doing some work, and then coming back a lot wealthier. And then you had like the online version, which was like OnlyFans. But it must be a completely different thing to actually go there and see this like firsthand, like how it actually works.
You've got to be careful. Man. Like, I went on Saturday night. I was like, okay, this is my budget. I'm not going out. But after this, that's it. Because if you don't, they just take your money, man. Like, you've had a few drinks, you're a bit tipsy. All of a sudden, you're buying like on the iPad. They bring you like $4,000 bottles of vodka and stuff. It's like, a dirham. So, 2,000. Like, you've really got to be careful. So, but that's how they take. Like, that's why there's so many rich folks that just go there and just like blow a bunch of money.
So, two things. When are we opening a Dubai office? And then also, this is a good lesson for us as well. Like, the lesson here is constantly have an upsell.
Yes.
And even us in our business, we need to have that upsell. This is something we need to look into.
Because humans are all the same. They have the same problems. They have the same characteristics. Some are just, at a different level. Like a $10 to someone is $100,000 to someone else. That equivalent, loss of, or expense. It's when you see that top 1%, man, like it actually made me feel like, I don't know, when I saw these guys pouring out the champagne, man, I was like, this is a whole new level of wealth. Well, or perceived wealth, right? They could have had fuck all money. Who knows? Like, a lot of this is about social, I don't know, not proof, but it's like communicating I have money, you know what I mean? It's all of an ego thing. Signaling.
Signaling. So this is the thing, right? Everyone's like, you see people that are wearing a Rolex, they've got a Lamborghini, they've got all this kind of shit. And everyone's like, oh, this person's rich. And I'm like, how are they funding this? Are they funding it with debt or equity? And 9 times out of 10, it's funded with debt. They are deeply, deeply in debt. And you never really know, like, behind this, like, they're putting on this kind of, this front, and they're signaling that I'm rich, I've got this, I've got that, my watch says something about me, my car says something about me. But it's like, how are you funding that lifestyle? And it's only the the really rich families and people that have done something significant and have a lot of wealth. Okay, I've got all this money. Now I'm going to spend it on these things.
Literally. And it's
Absolutely
usually
crazy,
it's the generational wealth. That's the other thing I've seen here as well. There's a lot of very young people that have been gifted an absolute bucket load of capital and money because how wealthy their families have been for generations. So a lot of these guys just walked into wealth. They've done, I know I'm generalizing here, but probably most of them have done fuck all, really. They've just been handed a shitload of money, which, by the way, I think is really scary. For us, as everyday sort of Aussies that haven't been born into generational wealth, the idea of growing something from nothing to something is so fucking exciting and empowering for me. And probably for you too, Bergs. A lot of us are in that, especially here at Collective Shift, versus just, hey, Bergs, here's 10 million bucks, mate. Off you go. Go and have a great life. That's a different game.
Yeah. So I think about this a lot, especially with my kid as well. And, there came a point where I got really comfortable a couple of years ago, and I was still studying and I was still doing all this stuff. I was still kind of consulting, but I got comfortable because I got to a point where I had enough money to pay my bills. I had money left over. I was paying off the mortgage and there was some left over to invest. And you can get really comfortable and complacent. You lose that hunger and that drive. And that's not a good place to be. You always need that hunger and you always need to achieve something more. But then, money loses its value. So I need to chase something else. And for me, that was building a business, building product and having success with Collective Shift. That's the thing I want to go after, as well as the lifestyle it affords me. And you're spot on. I'm very worried about generational wealth. And I'm not ultra rich or anything like that, but my daughter will not live the life that I had with my folks, where they basically saved all the time, had high interest rates, managed to keep their house and pay it off. I've built on that. I've got my house, I've got some investments, and my daughter will have more than what I have. And back to the rich people, there's this saying where it's there's one generation to make the wealth, the next one will grow it, and the third generation will blow it. And the reason that is because the first family, when you're coming up and you're doing all this, you're working hard, your kids see that. You're always at work, you're building a business, you're working really hard, you're putting deals together, you're hardly home. They see that and they appreciate that and they know what it's like to not have a lot of money. But then their kids, they grow up rich. They have a lot of money. All they've ever known is wealth. They've only been spoilt. They haven't had to strive for anything. And that's when they become complacent, don't understand money and the value behind it. And that's challenging for me as well, where even though my daughter will probably want for nothing, it's not on that huge scale, but it's more like if you think back to when we were kids and you didn't have all the toys, you didn't have anything, you didn't go on holidays, you didn't go on international trips. She's got all that stuff. And I'm starting to worry about that. And I've even seen people on Twitter that have exited companies, have got, hundreds of millions, and they've come to the point where it's you constrict their resources. So they have less and they have to do more in order to get the things that they want. It's this never ending kind of balance. Mate, when my kid's in her teens, I'm going to be what's that going to be like? What's money going to be like? How much do I give or what do I make? It's it's a hell of a thing to think about.
It's fascinating. Man. I've been thinking about this a lot recently around motivations behind doing certain actions. And I was having a conversation with Aman the other day around what is the thing that drives us to do certain actions? Let's look at work, for example. Why the hell are we trying to build, Collective Shift, for example? If you look on the outside, it is hard. You're constantly working. Yeah. It's fucking stressed. It's difficult. You're doing the hard things, right? So what is the thing that gets you out of bed every day? And I've really, really tried to ask myself that question, because I think sometimes maybe you can fall in the trap of just doing something for doing something. But I know, I've been... Yeah, did you want to say something?
Exactly. So just on that point, you always have to ask yourself, am I doing this because it's the thing I want to do and directionally where I want to go? Or is it just inertia? Because I've been doing this for so long that I just keep doing the thing.
And I think you went through that, right? You were back in your corporate job. You're just doing it because you did it. You know what I mean? But
100%. It's how fucked this is. It's I've been doing it for so long that I'll keep doing it. I'll keep building on it. I've got escalation of commitment. I've got power. I've got ego. It's what I'm known for. My whole life is structured around it. And it is so hard to stop and be like, why am I doing this? Is the thing I want to do? And am I prepared to kill myself, which is literally kill my identity and kill my ego and chop that off to go and be happy and do the thing I want to do and give up the power, the thing I've been building, the thing I've been compounding on, all the relationships, all the people. Am I willing to do that?
And I think it comes back to understanding what you are trying to achieve. Like, what is the thing that you value the most? Is it your career? Is it your health? Is it your family? Is it your friends? Is it wealth? Is it freedom? Is it time? What is it? And that's such a fucking hard question to answer. And I genuinely don't know the answer for myself. And it's a very personal question. For me, I've really been thinking recently around because right now I'm actually going through this interesting time where I feel so fucking motivated and so determined to win. I want to succeed. Like, genuinely, I will wake up some mornings and be so, I want to rage. I'm I know that sounds really cheesy, but sometimes literally on Saturday morning, I woke up, I had a good sleep, I woke up and I literally was I want to win so fucking bad. Got up and just attacked the day. Sometimes I don't feel like that and I don't want to get out of bed. I feel like absolute garbage and I'm stressed. But the idea of success to me is really interesting because I started thinking about, why do I want to win so bad? Is it for other people's opinions of me? Am I trying to be successful for others? Am I trying to be successful for me? What is the thing that is driving me? And I don't think it's for other people. I don't think it's trying to show other people that's that I'm successful and that's why I want to do it. There's something deeply ingrained in me that is just so badly wants to win, and to the point where it's not that I'd go and say this to people because it's not necessarily individuals. It's just as a competitive thing in my head. I'm fuck you. I want to I will win. I can be better than that. We can be better than that. It's constantly so competitive and potentially pretty unhealthy level of competitiveness, to be fair.
Yes.
Because that's really, for me, where my downfall is the volatility and stress that comes with when we're not achieving that, when I want it so bad, but we're not there. And it's constantly just never enough, or not. I don't know if it's never enough or just never, we're never at the level I want us to be or I to be at.
You've got high expectations and the expectations are never met. And you keep doing that because you're always goal setting. So you're on an infinite loop, an infinite rigor where it's always the next thing. It's an infinite game. You keep going. You set another goal, set another one, set another one. If I would have asked you 6 months ago, where do you think we'd be? And if I said where we are now, you'd be like, holy shit, that would be amazing. I would love to be there. But when you're constantly setting those goals and the next thing and the next thing. So, and you're spot on. So this was one of my major things at my previous job where we were exactly the same, all of us, right? It was very self-selecting into that team. And the leader that we had, she was absolutely like that. Inspiring, motivating, never enough, hardwired, optimistic, going hell for leather all the time. The downside of that is it's very taxing. You get burnt out. You don't celebrate the wins. You don't stop to smell the roses and appreciate what you've actually done. That's the downside of that. And you keep going and keep going, because it gives you that, adrenaline, that sense of worth, that sense of achieving, that motion, that inertia to really keep going. And I would ask you, so why do you work at Collective Shift? Why do you run this company?
I love it. I get off on getting a new member in the door. I get off on us launching a new feature or product, or us being able to raise money and bring a team in and seeing customers genuinely love the product. I love to win. I love making others win, and I love to win myself. And obviously I like business and crypto, and it all sort of comes together into one. And I like to be the underdog. And I like to build something from nothing, because I've always come, not that I've come from nothing, but we were a pretty, I don't know what you call it, everyday family. We didn't have, money, mum and dad, sort of work normal jobs. So the idea of building something and showcasing. Look, I think in the past I probably was like trying to prove, because I've done like, because I've been down this path before. I've been down this path where I sat down with a therapist, and because I was fucking going crazy trying to win so much, and I feel as though maybe go a year or two ago, I was trying to prove something to someone. I didn't know who that someone was, but I was trying to prove something to them. That doesn't feel as strong now. It's not like I'm trying to prove something to someone. I just want to fucking win. I don't know how else to explain it. Like, it's so, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so strong.
I feel you, bro. I got the same thing. And it's like, even when I do like, you know, the therapy and listen to all this stuff, that voice still comes back where it's like, just do some more. Just prove these fuckers wrong. Take a big shit on them.
Fuck you.
And it's like that very crypto thing where it's like, yeah, fuck you. I won't do what you tell me. I'm going to win in my own fucking way. And it's like, it's that irreverence of crypto, that kind of underdog real feeling and building something and getting that validation from the market. And you mentioned all those things with like getting a new customer and getting this. What is it about that winning feeling that really does it for you?
As in like,
because you're doing all these activities to get a feeling.
Oh, it's euphoricness. It's pumped up. I want to fucking jump on the table and I want to, you know, rip my shirt off and go run 4 laps. You know, it's like, it's genuine excitement and passion, and like hard work equals a result. I think that's the key, right? You work so hard on this one activity or these 3 activities, and you don't win, and you don't win, and you get kicked down, and you're no's and denied, and you're losing money, it's stressful, and then you get a win. And you're like, fuck, yes. You know, that is what I love. That's what I love to play for. Good.
And are you focusing, when you get up and you're super motivated, are you focusing on the long-term goal of this company being successful, having a big exit, or are you focusing on the short-term, how do I win, what can we do here?
I struggle to look long-term. Like, obviously I know where I kind of want to be, but it's not like I wake up and I'm like, oh, I can't wait to be a billionaire. You know, like, it's not like that. It's like I want to get up. Like on Saturday, right, I had to do this new pitch deck for Invest. I got up, I was like, fuck, I'm going to nail this pitch deck. Let's fucking go. I went to the gym, smashed some pre-workouts, smashed some weights, went to the cafe, and just destroyed this pitch deck. You know, and I'm getting excited now. I'm like...
It was actually awesome, man. Yeah. It was good. It's like... So you like just get on the pre-workout, go into the future, and mate, you smashed it. That was like impressive. Dude, like, it was off the like Friday, man. Like when you came in, you're like, "How are we going to be $1 billion company?" I'm
let's go,
let's go. And we just brainstormed, wrote it all down. You wake up the next day, you're like,
"No, can I explain? Like, I know this sounds really fucking cheesy, but I genuinely woke up and I was, I don't know if I'm saying this. I was dreaming of success, mate. Like I know that sounds so fucking bad. I was like, like this and this. How are we going to succeed? I need to do this deck, and that result of this deck is going to get us this fundraising, and these guys are going to win, and we're going to get the money, and then we're going to fucking win. Like, and that was like, let's go. Like, I genuinely couldn't get into it, and I know I'm definitely not always like that. So listeners at home, please don't think I'm this sort of like robot that just gets up and fucking dreams, because I don't. Some days I feel.
Even the last pod was, like before the last pod, we were pretty both down in the dumps.
Like, I'm so volatile. Like, I go from different days, and there's a lot of variables. But what I found is, like, if I'm eating good, I'm going to the gym. The gym is. I've realised, like, I did not want to go to the gym this morning. I kind of shit sleep last night, so I was watching movies and fucking day-to-day last week, hungover from Saturday still. But I forced myself to go to the gym, and now I feel like I'm kind of tired, but I still feel like I'm up, and I had to sweat out. I'm getting into it. Like, I feel as though that is like, I don't know what sort of chemicals are going on inside when you go to the gym, but it just fucking gets things moving, man.
It hits all those switches, and it gets all that self-talk and negativity out of your head, where it's just like your best version of yourself. Mate. How good. I get the same thing where it's like, I don't know why, but usually it's on like a Saturday night, and I'll wake up, like I'll go to bed and I'll wake up about midnight or 1 a.m. and I'll just feel like, and this is if I had like a cracking week or something's happened, I feel like I got fucking lightning coming out of my hands, man. And between like 12 a.m. and 4 a.m., I'll just sit in front of the computer and just smash something. And it's literally like a fucking month's worth of creative work that will just come out, and I'll be like, holy shit. This is like when I did that product strategy, and I look back and on the Monday, I was like, fucking who wrote this, mate? This is awesome.
Dude, your product strategy, man.
It's just
that product strategy you wrote
unbelievable.
literally is unbelievable. Like, it is everything that anyone would need to understand our product. Like, that thing is worth a fucking, like, $1 billion right there. You know what I mean?
Could you imagine how much you have to pay a team of fucking MBAs to write that shit?
Like, that was legit.
Like, and it's not tooting my own horn. It is like
legit.
a good thing that I'm proud to like show
Legit,
other
man.
people, right?
So, how...
Fucking hell.
how
And it's
did-
like when you had that activation and you cultivate that like state. Just so, and this is the thing, they always say like innovation is the flower of a well-tended
Yes,
garden.
okay, I want to go to...
And they
can
say
we go
that to
deep here?
teams, but
I'm
if you
sorry, I
look
want
at-
to... Sorry to interrupt. I want to go to how
Let's
do we
go.
get to this spot more? Because how often do you get into let's call it activation mode, right? When activation mode is when you look at the time, you're in this deep work, you're so fulfilled, and like you're in it, and just time flies by, right? And you get this just the best work done, and you're loving it. I had one on Saturday. I probably get them maybe once, maybe twice a week. You know, if I'm in the zone doing something I'm really loving, I'll get the mind space. How often do you get it, and how do you get into the activation zone?
Okay, for work, maybe 2 to 4 times a week. Generally during the week with just things. Probably at least 10 to 15, I reckon. Like, yeah. So so my brain's a bit different, definitely neurodiverse. With work, and it like today, I'm just like, I'm going to punch out a flywheel. Yes. Where I'm just like, I'm feeling it. I'm in the mood. Let's go. Put everything else to the side. Got an hour. Let's punch out a flywheel. I made a sick one, man. I'll show it to you later. It's so good. I was just like, my brain was just thinking about it. I couldn't stop thinking about it. It's not going to go away. And I'm like, I've got this list of stuff to do. I'm like, nah, let's capitalize on it. Let's do this. And the way my brain kind of works is I get hyper fixated on a lot of things, and I get task focus as well, where I won't be able to stop thinking about the thing. I'll keep thinking about the thing. I'll just have to do the thing until it's done, right? Even if it's just a short period of time. And it might be something like I need to go and fix that sprinkler and do that thing, but I'll do it so well where I'm in a flow state and I'll be so happy that I just capitalize on it. That can be very, very bad because, you know, if I'm just working normally and I'll need to do a thing, but I'm thinking about this other thing and I'm like, oh, fuck, I really need to do that thing. Oh, I really need to go. And all right, but to get that's like that's definitely a neurodiverse thing, but to get myself, let's say, just general work into a state where I want to do a thing, it has to have a number of things. I have to be eating right, sleeping right, exercising. So I have to feel, my body has to feel good, comfortable, relaxed, and loose. There can't be any tension there, right? In order to get into that state. And then I'll need some kind of stimulus. So it'll either be intrinsic motivation, so coming from myself, or extrinsic, where it's I'll talk to you and I'll get excited, or I'll talk to a customer or the team, or I'll see someone else's product and I'll go, why the fuck don't we have that? I need to be like that. I want to be like that. What is it going to take us to get there? What do I need to build or create or strategy or plan in order to get that, because I want to be that good? So really it comes down to, not having that tension, feeling loose, having that well-tended garden, you know, it's fed, it's fertilized, it's watered, it's ready to go. And then what do you need to bloom? And it's always some book I've read, or things I've listened to in a guided meditation, or a text from you, or a voice message that gets me amped, son. And then I'll I'll have to write that down and bring it in. That's generally what will happen. Like creating that scenario and then having that either internal or external stimulus.
We're so similar, man. 100%. First of all, the garden has to be watered, like gym, eating good, water, slept well. The second one, the most important one for me, which I've realized as well, is a deadline. If I have a deadline that I have to have something done by, I usually am one to procrastinate right up to the last minute. But if I have that deadline, I'll fucking make that deadline, you know, if it's really important to me. The third one is no distractions. So Saturday morning, Dubai time, no one's awake. US is asleep. You know, Aussies aren't working. There was no distractions. And I just hustled from 8, it was just 4 hours. I had this 4-hour activation zone where I wasn't doing anything else.
Yep.
Didn't check social media. Apart from I knocked my water over the table and it went fucking everywhere because I was so excited. I was just sitting at the desk of the cafe and smashed out this deck with everything I needed. Had it had growth metrics, unit economics, it had product strategy, it had team credentials, it had 3-month, 3-year, 5-year plans, acquisition strategies in 4 hours, man. It was unbelievable,
Yep.
right? I was about to say you couldn't pay MBAs, but I don't know, I'm not an MBA to do that. But
You get very generic shit if you paid MBAs.
Yeah.
If you paid a top tier
Yeah.
consulting company, you wouldn't get what you pulled out.
But that, for me, is like, I need to do more of that. How do I do more of that? Well, for starters, I think I just have way too many fucking meetings. Every day I've got shit. And I think the listeners at home have probably got that in their world, in their lives. Like, having the open calendar, having the time where you've got time to do deep work, when you don't need to drive to work, you don't need to go to this lunch date, you don't need to have this meeting, you don't have to have these fucking Slack messages, you don't need to, you know what I mean? You've just got an open slather to do this one thing that you need to get done that is so vitally important that you cannot do in 10-minute chunks, have like a little 15 minutes here, 20 minutes there. You've just got to go deep and just get it done.
Yeah. And the thing for me is like, I can't just turn that state on.
No, it's not a switch.
So I can't do it. It's more about noticing when you're feeling it and how to capitalize on it. So today was that day for me where I only had this meeting today. The rest was just casual stuff that I can move around and work that just needs to get done. That can always wait till tomorrow. And that's when I got into that state and I recognized it and I built that flywheel.
Yes.
So it's having the doing all the stuff for your body, but having that free time. So when it comes, you can capitalize on it. Because if you've got a meeting, you're done.
Capitalizing on the energy. It's like a light. It's like a rocket ship or lightning going through. When you see it, you got to fucking grab it and then just use it. That, my friend, that's exactly how it happens. But there is things you can do to generate more lightning bolts. Like if you're feeling shit, you're constantly like, not sleeping well, you're eating shit, the lightning bolts are going to be few and far between. But if you're watering the garden, you're taking time off, you're doing the thing, you're setting yourself up for the lightning bolts, that's where you can really take it and capitalize.
So you and I were talking about this last week or the week before grand final. And we were working hard. We were tired. We were cooked. So many meetings, so much stuff going on. And then we had a day off. It was a public holiday, and we both had a day off. I spent the day painting and gardening. I don't know what you did. Probably sleeping, you lazy dog. And then we start texting. And my God, I'm like, look at our products. How do you feel when you see this? And you're like, holy shit. And then we just literally solved so much shit in about an hour just over asynchronous text over WhatsApp because our minds were free. We were doing other stuff. We weren't caught up in the minutiae of how our operations work and what our people are doing and what we need to plan next. It was this big, 10,000 foot thinking, and it was just unbelievable.
It's so fascinating, right? Because I hadn't taken a day off in between there. We were sort of talking about before, like that creative juices and flowing, and when you're not just always bogged down in the weeds, like having that time to be creative. I was so hungover yesterday, I'm not going to lie, because we had a big day on Saturday. No cramps. But how many messages did you wake up to me, like, from fucking yesterday, like in Slack and WhatsApp? And some of it was, questionable at best. But my mind, I was literally lying in bed watching The Wolf of Wall Street, because it's my favorite fucking movie. And all these things were popping up. And I was like, wow, although I'm running at about, 17% here, the idea of taking yourself out of what you normally do, and for me, that was just going out and hanging with friends and not thinking about working at all for probably like a day. And there's like light bulbs were sort of like sparking out. Even though I was hungover as fuck, there was this stuff that was popping up. It was like this a part of your brain, when rested or does something else, opens up and just allows some creativity to be flowing there. And this is the other thing I realized with my lightning bolts. I get my lightning bolts when I'm not here, like I'm in my hotel room at the moment. If I go to a cafe or a Starbucks, dude, there'll be fucking some lightning around, because I'm just like, I plug in my headphones, I'm out of my, every day, and I'm just there to do a job, and it's like you just wire in.
This is the thing, like you're in a cafe, you see different people, you're like, oh, they look a bit fucking weird. I wonder what their life's like. And you just start thinking about different things. This just reminds me of like, when you look at like artificial intelligence and models, you have data that goes into a model and then you have an output. So you've got some kind of stimulus going in it goes inside, and then you have an output. And we're exactly the same. We've got these programs running in our brains, these loops, these kind of, habits and everything else that we were taught, like, don't touch this, it's hot, don't go over there, do this thing, show up to work at this time, all this sort of shit running just in the background. And if you're doing the same thing every day, you're working from home, you're talking to the same people, you're talking about the same stuff, your world is very small. And the problems that you want to solve are not going to get solved in that way. But if you do something different, you go and lift weights, you go for a walk, you look at nature, you talk to someone you've never met before, you go to a different cafe, you go on a holiday where you don't understand the language and all those kind of people, all of this kind of stimulus changes your worldview. It breaks that sequence in your brain. It gets you thinking in a different way. It gets you really creative and helps you to solve those problems. I'm a big fan of it, man. I'm going to start going out to a WeWork, man. I've got to do it. You took me up there. Beautiful view. When I was looking at that view from that building, I was like, holy shit, like the juices were just
people
flowing,
around you
mate.
that are also just juices flowing. Like, fuck, like, let's go.
They're getting after it.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's there building companies, getting after it. And like at home, I can kind of like, be lazy and that kind of stuff. And you can talk to your staff and everything, but there's also like that power and control where they'll react to you in a certain way. But you go out there and you're like, fuck, what's this guy doing? He hasn't moved in fucking 6 hours. He's had 14 coffees. Shit, why haven't I had 14 coffees? I'm a lazy dog. I've got to get after it, mate. Fuck. You know what I mean? Like, who the fuck is this guy? He thinks he's better than me. Let's go.
It's like competitive. You can drink more coffee than me, mate. Get fucked. Let's go. I'm going to be...
Yeah, let's go. So this comes back to, like, I heard a quote and they say to ask yourself, there is only one question. And the question is, what are you afraid to feel? And it's a very hard question. And if I ask you about you're motivated, you're building collective shift, you're doing all these activities, you're doing them for a reason. What are you afraid to feel? If you don't do those activities, what would you feel?
I've thought about this, and it's a bad place. It's letting people down. It's the idea of failure, and failure in the eyes of your peers that you failed. That is a fucking awful feeling. And I've sat in there for a little bit. I'm like, I do not want that.
And is it failure that you're not doing anything, or failure because you've not done the activities? What I'm getting at is it okay to do all this stuff and then the outcome is not what you want? Or is it more I'm sitting at home being a lazy
it's
dog?
Failure that everything we're doing here will not work. The feeling of anything but success.
So interesting. So this is why you're like, because you said on the other, like last week on the pod, that I'm like, you're a mad lad, you just get after it. And he's like, bro, I just look at the things that need to be done. If it needs to be done, I have to do it. And literally the way we've structured this business is, this is where we need to get to. These are the set of activities that give us the highest chance of success. We need to execute on these. And every time you do those, so this is really interesting because I'm exactly the same up to the point where I can't control the outcome. I want to succeed. I will do whatever it takes to succeed. But if that day comes, I have to be okay with that outcome where it's like, people guess, Marcus decide.
That's
right. So the reality is I'm going to go nuclear up until that point where we have to stop this, right? Until they absolutely say, no.
That's fascinating.
But if that day comes, I will be, I think I will be, I don't know, because the day hasn't come, right? So that I will have to be okay.
That's fascinating
with that.
Because you level me out, and since you and Aman both do when I come to you guys with a problem or something's going on, and you guys really provide that balance in my head. Because in my head, it's like no matter what, we will fucking have to win. Like there is no other choice.
So yeah, there is no plan B. And that's great. And that's the way we all think, right? Like that's absolutely what we're going to. There is no plan B. We're all in. What happens on the day if you fail? See, that is the real challenge. Because I've been in your situation before when I was young and I thought exactly the same way. And you just keep going. It's an infinite kind of thing. And it's kind of a stoic thing where you should appreciate the things you have and where you're going. But if they're taken away from you, it should not affect who you are and your life and your self-worth and everything else that happens. And you see this in normal life where people build up a lifestyle, they have a house, they go to restaurants, they do all this stuff. Suddenly they lose their job, those things get taken away, and they're like, who am I? And if you're tying, your identity or your success metric to something you can't necessarily control, that's something you really want to look at. Because if that day comes, it's not that you failed and you're not a success. You got off the couch, you worked your ass off in insane fucking situations like over the last year. You're raising capital in the hardest bear market. You built an amazing team, and this business will continue. But really tying it to the outcome, it's more about the things that you've achieved along the way, the things that you've learnt, and the skills you have and the person that you'll become.
Yeah, I definitely see what you're saying. And I think I used to... So when all this shit happened last year with, fucking old mate, like, I think that was the toughest period of my life. And because I was so at one, my personality, who I was the business. So if the business failed, I failed.
Yeah. And
I still have a lot of that, right? I still have a lot of that. Probably 90%. Where I get that 10%, or where I'm like, I probably was at 100%. I'm probably now going to say like it was at 90%. And it fluctuates. But when I'm doing other activities, when I'm playing golf, when I'm traveling, when I'm meeting new people, when I'm doing other activities, I can start to see the different, like there's Ben and then there's like work. There's two separate things. Yeah. However, that's a big, it will be, what will it be? Because in my head, there is no scenario where we fail. Because I don't even think about it. It's not going to happen. But that's the thing we're trying to get at. Because if it does, then it's like, now you're probably, you're going to be in a bit of trouble. Yeah.
What I'm getting at is, and that's the mentality you have. I'm exactly the same. This business is never going to fail. Right? I will do whatever it takes. Like, you pick up the phone anytime, like, bro, what do you need done? Let's fucking do it. Like, it's always like, soldier in the trenches, let's go. If the event happens, it'll be sad for me. I'll have a cry. It's going to suck. I'm going to miss the team. But it's not going to be a catastrophic event where I'll be catatonic for months and not understand what my life is.
So this is where you, and for listeners at home, Aaron is very fucking balanced, right? You can go to Bergs with any fucking problem. And he's like, yeah, no worries, man. This is how we're going to sort it. Bergs he's got the fucking...
I'm glad you think that, mate. I feel very unbalanced.
Mate, you're the most...
It's something I continually have to work on.
You're the most balanced motherfucker. You can ride a one-wheel bicycle, mate. You are fine. Me, on the other hand, coming in, guns are blazing. One day I'm fucking, it's the end of the world. One day it's like we're going to be at Mars. Like, I am all over the shop.
This is like the last episode, how we went into it and we're like ultra negative. Then Ben had a break and he had a really good phone call. And we come back and we do the look back to the episode and we're all happy.
So when you listen to the last episode, the intro is going to be it's going to be popping off, and then the episode is just going to be just dull and depressive.
Oh yeah, but to be honest, I haven't listened to it yet, but I loved that episode because it was hard. We were both really tired, and we went really deep as well. It was just really talking about what's going on. I'm interested to see what kind of a listen.
Dude, when did we record that? Thursday or Friday? We're recording on Monday. Like Friday. 4 days later.
Yeah, it's quick turnaround.
Fucking man. So, and this is changed. Like when you're playing games like we are. When I say games, I mean startup life. You are playing
long-term games, yeah.
No, but I mean when you're playing early stage startup games, you're playing all or nothing. You're playing huge bets on red and black. And you're spinning that wheel, and you're going to have wins and you're going to have losses. It's not this linear growth. It is like a Bitcoin chart, and it is really hard when you don't have a clear path to success to be balanced and always, I guess, okay with everything that happens. So what I found in startups is that it's hugely volatile. And I think really where you should be living is somewhere in between, like running through here. But what happens is you go above and below. And Gary Vee talks about this all the time. If you can bring that down and not think about too much of the wins and not go too deep in the depressive nature and bring it in, you're probably going to have a much better time. But I certainly struggle with that. I'm like a fucking meme coin chart, man.
I'm getting better at it, but I'm still the same. And I need to. There's a brilliant book. It's called Ego is the Enemy. I don't know if you've read it, but I need to reread it for sure. And it basically goes on about what your ego is. There's a lot of Stoic philosophy in there as well. It's a very short read. It is. You can read it in an afternoon, and it's absolutely brilliant. It's a book that you'll read over and over again. And really, it goes on about that exact thing. Like, what do we tie our identities to? If we take that away, who are we? What do we really have? Are these things really important? And even Aman is really good at this. Like, if you drop something and you'll drop a voice message, and I've still got this thing where you're like, oh, bro, the product should be like this. We should have this. We should have that. My initial instinct is like, I'm not good enough. Why haven't I done the thing? And I have to catch myself and be like, no, this is a product thing. This is not tying to your identity, your self-worth, how well you've done in the company. This is just another challenge we need to do. It's external to me, something that flows through me, but it is not who I am, and I don't need to take this personally. But I still have that initial instinct and have to catch myself, go, take a breath. Right, cool. I absolutely want to get to that spot. How do we get there? And it's about the thing, and it's not about me. Do you have that as well, where you kind of feel like it's
100%.
It's like you 100%. With the team, like, yeah, it's
100%.
brutal, isn't
I'm
it?
trying to think of an example. I can't think of an example right now, but
cash flow is a classic example.
Yeah,
like you would feel like a failure if you didn't raise enough money and we didn't
100%.
have collective shift.
100%. Yeah,
and you think about all the people, the teams, their jobs, and you feel like you've let them down. When in reality, you're doing way above and beyond. Like, let's say, like you'd expect an 8 out of 10 from people, you're at about a 15 with the things you're doing. You're flying to different countries, talking to millions of investors, going to conferences. It is way above and beyond. No one would point to you and say, you have not put your all into it.
If we didn't succeed, I'd be like, fucking oath.
So would I. So would I. Not for you, but for me. And I look back and I'll always be like, I could have done 100%. More. And now I still say those things, but I'm more comfortable because I don't feel at 100% where I just have this guilt and obligation and regret that I didn't do enough because I could have done a little bit more.
So why do we do that? Is that personal expectations of ourselves are so high that we could never achieve enough unless we win? Like why are our expectations so high?
I think it's a couple of things. It's we want to succeed. We've got really high expectations, but it's not that we have high expectations. It's that we keep resetting them and we never reach those expectations. It's almost like you don't have that middle chunk or that filter kind of where you go through. Moves. And it's constantly setting, resetting, having that. It's like a escalating loop, right? Where I look at this business. I came into this business. I'm like, right, we're going to change this. Had success, more. Got my first bonus. Oh my God, amazing. Let's go harder. Let's go more. Your team starts to burn out. It's like that. In life, they call it hedonistic adaptation, where it's like, okay, you get a bit of money, you go to fancy restaurants. Now you go to a fancier restaurant, and then now you're going on big holidays. All of a sudden, you're pouring out fucking bottles of champagne in Dubai. You constantly adapt.
You're leveling up.
Keep going
it's like
higher
leveling
and
up your
higher.
lifestyle. Do you think it's also impacted by what other people have? He's got the Ferrari. He's pouring out the bottles of champagne. He's flying everywhere.
100%,
I want to be like that.
100%. Oh. And this is the dumbest fucking comparison in the world, where you look at one aspect of a person's life and you're like, why the fuck do they have that and I don't have that? And I look at my mates and I'm like, some of them are in consulting, they're earning like 300K. I'm like, fuck, why don't I earn that much money? And then I'm like, but look at their lives. I'm like, if I want to do that, I have to take everything from their lives. Do I want the travel? Do I want the hours? Do I want the stress? Do I want all the stuff that goes with it? Do I want to not enjoy my day-to-day doing something like I'd prefer to do something that I love? And you can't just have that one sliver of a person's life. You have to take their whole life. And you look at the most successful people and you're like, oh, they got $10 billion. Look at them with all these women, all this kind of stuff. Yeah, but look at their history. They've got like 5 divorces. Their children don't speak to them. You have to choose and select and be, with so much intent. What do I want my day-to-day to be like and where am I actually going? And it's a whole thing where comparison is the thief of joy. If I'm comparing myself to someone else's journey, it's not about them and what they have. It's about me. Am I better than I was yesterday? That is the only thing that matters in life. If you're improving yourself and you're leveling yourself up and you're running your own race and your journey, that is the measurement, not against someone else.
How can we practice that self-reflection? It's probably a self-reflection process. You know, like I think
is.
when I journal, for example, and I love journaling, but that's more like a constant stream of thoughts. I'm not reflecting on my day yesterday or my week or my last 12 months. Do you go through a process of self-reflection to stay in your lane? Because I feel as though that's probably one of the best ways to remember where you've come, where you're going.
It is the best way, and I do it in a couple of ways. I need to journal more, but I generally write when I've got too much on my mind, and it's generally when I'm stressed or feeling unwell or something like that. And I go back like a year or two and I read that kind of stuff. And I'll probably, like, honestly, I'll probably only write this like maybe 4 times a year. I need to get better at it. But just looking at my thought process and how I was thinking and what I wanted to achieve, and I look back and I'm like, man, I was dumb. None of that shit mattered at all. But then the interesting one is where I do the daily manifest where I write down my goals. I'll go back. I've only done it for about a year and a half. I'll go back and I'll look at my goals and I'll be like, holy shit, I've achieved a lot. I remember how I felt. And one of my major goals was to join Collective Shift. Like, that's literally what I wrote down. And we tried to do it a while ago, but then, you know, a lot of stuff happened with old mate. But that was my main goal and that's what I was focused on. And now I've achieved that. And I look at my day to day and the things that I can do. And it's epic. It is continual self-reflection. You can either do it like the hardcore people do it like daily. You'll take 10 or 15 minutes at the end of the night, you write down some stuff and you'll reflect on it. You go, great, what can I learn? Or you could do it weekly or you could do it monthly. But it's more about, for me, it's about how I was thinking and what I thought was important.
And I think I use goals as a prioritization method. It helps me prioritize what's most important to do day to day. But the reflection part is such a fascinating angle that I don't do enough of. Because I've certainly opened up. I've got a personal goal spreadsheet that I probably haven't looked in fucking 8 months. I'm actually like now. I'm like I actually want to check it out and see what the hell I was trying to achieve. Because when I have done that, it's usually you achieve way more than probably what you initially set out to achieve. All the goals you look back and go, Jesus, is that really like, man? There's a long way. I've come a long way since then.
Or you've got those goals you still haven't achieved because you keep putting them off, and you look back and you're like, fuck, I still haven't done that. Like even with mine, like automating a lot of my finance, I still haven't done. I'm like, fuck, I absolutely have to.
But then
that.
why? But then why is
it
like a goal? Is that because it's like, is it nice to have? Is it something you really need? Because I feel as though if it's something you really need, you would have done it by now.
I don't necessarily really need it because I'm just doing it manually, but it's more about cognitive offload, and a lot of it I just can't be fucked. And with me, I'm definitely a warrior, and I make things more difficult in my head than they're actually going to be. So for me, it's like I'll have to write a contract with my open trust accounts and do a few things. And in my head, I'm like, just can't be fucked. Yeah. Way too hard. And in reality, it's probably about 2 hours worth of work. But still, I put it off and put it off and put it off.
What about the...
But also, it's finance because it's boring. So it's like the payoff. That's what I mean.
What's the result there? What's the win? You know, we as humans do things with rewards. What's the reward for that?
Yeah. Okay, so the challenge here is it's a long-term win. So what it does, it cognitively offloads the things I have to do that I'm doing manually. It'll save me chunks of time here and there, but it'll absolutely make sure that every time my dollar cost averaging and everything that I'm doing is going to the correct areas, it's structured correctly, it's tax efficient, and the payoff is in 10 to 20 years. That's the problem, because the payoff's over there. Way, the payoff's not like, I'll go to my fridge and eat a meal. Yeah, mate. Oh, that's it. That is absolutely it. Oh, and man, speaking of startups, man, I've got to tell you this one thing. So I went to my old boss I used to work with. She had a book launch, and it was fantastic to catch up with the old crew. And they were asking me, they're like, oh man, what's startup life like? And I'm like, man, it's pretty much the same, except there's a lot less bureaucracy. I can move a lot faster, and everything could end tomorrow. And like the whole thing we've been talking about is like, fuck, moving towards that goal, going super fast, but you've always got that thing at the back of your head where this could just stop. Like if I make the wrong product choice, you know how you're saying you're putting it all on black or you're putting it all on red, or the market may change or you may run out of money. It's such a fascinating game.
It's a really, really good way to, like, it is. And I think you're constantly running, you're constantly jumping off a cliff, trying to build your plane before you hit the ground, and you keep
on the way
doing
down.
it. Yes. Like that's literally what you got to do. Once you build the plane, then you start to take off again, but then you need to rebuild the engine mid-flight, and if you fuck it up, it could be all over.
Yeah.
Like it's a constant battle of
That's it.
running against time, market conditions, and building something that no one's ever built before to win a game that no one's won before.
It's crazy. I like that. A game that no one has won before. That's exactly it. You're running that race to find something new, something interesting, something someone hasn't seen before. And you're like, I'm going to build something around that. I'm going to capture that market. I'm going to win over here. And you're betting the farm on it. You're betting your time. You're betting your money. You're all in.
You're betting careers.
You're putting in insane hours.
Like,
yes. That is it. Because humans think in a way where, I'll work here, then I'll work there, and I'll slowly build up. You're basically saying F you to all that stuff. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to do something absolutely nuclear. And even with me, think about it. I was in a corporate life. I was building it. I was C-level. I was working in health. Could change a couple of industries if I wanted. Now I'm in crypto, something that people don't understand. They think it's a scam. I'm on podcasts with you. I'm swearing my ass off. I'm giving you the fucking beans. And I've never been happier in my life. But you burn those bridges and you find that, hey, that life wasn't really for me. And the people that want me and want to be around me will be self-selecting. And now they know who I am because I have this leveraged content on the internet.
Do you think
it's a
do you
very
think the success motivation for you, because I'm starting to think about myself here, I'm wondering if the success to win motivation comes from a place of trying to find happiness. It's trying to find a place of comfort. Yeah. It's trying to find a place of abundance and freedom with maybe that the finance, the wealth gives you, or the status it gives you by getting to that certain level. Does it come from a place of happiness?
So for me, I really thought hard. So my answer to this question about why I do this is I wanted to move into another area that was less restrictive. And I fucking love crypto. I've consulted with you for ages. And I'm happiest when I do that. I'm happiest, God knows why, looking at your horrendous face. But when I'm talking to you, we're motivating each other. We love the game. We love business. We like going in deep. And I wanted to be at the stage where I'm an owner in a business as well. Like it ticks all these like generic boxes. It has a potential to build wealth. Yeah, I don't get paid at my top level that I would be if I was consulting or something like that. But my day-to-day is I get to build something awesome with awesome people that I really like, that I flew over last year and met them all. And it's a really special thing. I get to put all my skills on display. And I think for me, what it gives me is it gives me fulfillment. And I need that thing every day where you need something to do, someone to love, and something to hope for. And I've got someone to love. I've got multiple people to love. That's great. I need something to do. And that something to do has to use my entire brain. This business absolutely does that. And then also something to hope for. I have lots of things to hope for, but I also get the business thing to hope for as well. And that hope is that we can all work together, carry out those activities, and be a successful business.
Bergs, fucking hell, an hour's just passed.
Holy shit, mate. So in the background, we've got this huge thing written about all the stuff we're going to talk about. We're going to have to say that for next episode. We're going to have to go in, mate. We're going to have to wrap this puppy up.
We spoke about nothing that was on our fucking agenda. But that was the best episode we have recorded so far. That was intense, man. Mate, that was fucking good.
I've loved that.
Was incredible. Oh, just before we get into meme of the week and meal of the week, listeners at home, let us know what you like. Are you struggling with the same shit? Are we just on a completely different planet? Are we talking a language? Let us know. Hit us up on Discord, Twitter. We've got our Discord, which is the link below. Yep. Bergs and I's Twitter is the link below. Fucking send me a message, email me, whatever the hell you want. I would love to hear, what are your experiences with finding happiness, finding motivation? What drives you to do the things each day? That I'd love to know.
Absolutely. Yep. Hit Ben up at Ben Simpson AU on Twitter and me at BabybackBerg. Give us a chat. We'll chat back. Dude. Get amongst it.
Man, I need a...
Mate, how good?
That was deep, dude.
We went deep, man. We're going into some deep mind shit there. How do you really feel and why do you feel it? That shit ain't easy, man.
Right, let's go. Let's
lighten up the mood. Let's go for meme of the week.
Well, fuck, what do we got this week?
We're not going to get cancelled, but goddamn, this one had me in stitches. So this is a photo of an MMA fighter. But this is from Zaza Myota, right? they said Shorty looked like she snorted a drumstick.
What the?
Poor lass she's been bashed up, right? She's been in a fight in MMA. She's in the octagon and she's got this giant hematoma going up her nose into her head, and it's just swollen, and it looks like a chicken drumstick.
That is not healthy.
It literally looks like she snorted a chicken. Her other eye is shut, and you're like, oh my God, she is so tough. But I looked at it, I'm like, hot damn, that's a chicken drummy. I'll grab that out of her head and just eat it. That looks delicious.
Man, that does not look healthy.
Mate, that is meme of the week, and I got sent another one today that I just have to do. It's your boy, Prince Charles. Oh, sorry, King Charles.
Sausage fingers.
And he's back with his sausage fingers. And they've literally gone and got fresh sausages from the butchers and replaced his whole hands with sausages. This is the best looking thing on the planet. I can't believe it. And just the look on this mad lad's face, he's like, yeah, I know I got sausage fingers. What about it? This is a bloody 10 out of 10 Photoshop job, mate. How good? How good?
Dude, that's classic. Classic sausage fingers.
Oh my God. All right. Mate, shall we we'll go into meal of the week. Did you want to do we'll do yours first, because apparently you weren't very hungry, mate.
Mine's actually not food this week, Bergs.
Let's just share your meal, and mate, this is what you're eating. Bear Market Blues. What are you eating over here, mate?
A shisha. I'm not eating anything. I was out I was in Dubai, so went and had some high quality, like I'm not sure if it was actually Arabic or Turkish food, but it was bloody great. It was a big meat stack. I should have taken a photo of burgers. It was incredible.
Yum.
And then had I'm not a big I've never really had shisha properly, so tried it out. Definitely interesting experience. I'm not sure if does it have tobacco in it. Shisha, like is it actually like nicotine?
Yeah, it's like flavored tobacco. Yeah.
Probably won't be having it too often, but
depending on the one you have, but generally that's what it is.
Won't be having it too often, but it had great flavor, and it was interesting. Like it's people are sucking them down, man, over here. Like they love it. It's everywhere here.
Oh, I love it as well. Like you just get in there and just blow big clouds, lad. What flavor did you have,
mate? A bit of grape. It was actually pretty nice.
Oh,
and it had
delicious.
big meat stack.
I love cherry. Get on cherry if you can.
They had a whole menu of flavors inside.
Oh man, and just having like some like slow cooked meat, like some lamb or something.
I had a mixed meat combo. I had like chicken, lamb, like bread, tzatziki, sausage. Yeah. Man,
mate,
I should have taken a photo of it.
That sounds phenomenal.
Right, what do you got for us?
Oh my God. All right, was that your first shisha?
Yeah.
What would you give it out of 10?
Look, probably like a 6, just because it's probably not that healthy.
Yeah.
And I probably wouldn't have it all the time. It was I had to try it, but it's not really my thing.
Fair enough, mate. This was my meal of the week. So this is a ribeye steak from Meat and Wine Co. So I went out there for the anniversary, took a couple of nights off with the missus. Highly recommend just having everyone out there, dump your kids with the grandparents and have a night or two off with the missus. Just go to a hotel somewhere in the city, wake up, no kids, go to breakfast, walk around, walk by the river, have a fucking ice cream, just get amongst it. Highly recommend it. Take some time out. Just a couple of days, nice reset. So, Meat and Wine Co. And whenever I have a steak, I always have a ribeye because the flavour is just phenomenal. So here we've got a ribeye, medium rare, bowl of chips. Now with this.
Oh, shit.
Cooked perfectly. So this is actually on the outside. So through the inside, it was probably like rare plus. I love my steaks rare plus, but I always order medium rare because no one knows
what's
how to
rare
cook
plus.
Steak. But this was just one above medium rare. So you have medium rare, rare plus, rare blue.
Oh, shit. Oh, geez. You're nearly like... Yeah, wow.
Yeah. It's a thing, mate. But they don't put it on menus, but chefs know what it is if they're a good chef. Smashing down wine with this. Absolutely delicious. Had a side of I love broccolini, man. These are just market greens. Nice toasted almonds. Bit of lemon on there as well. Had some Dutch carrots with harissa paste, sesame seeds, and then a lovely cooling kind of creme fraiche underneath. And mate, here we go. The happy anniversary. This was chocolate fondant, with hazelnut ice cream. And so the missus had a frangelico with this, and then I had Pedro Jimenez, it's like a port sherry kind of thing. And it was just like this sticky, delicious liqueur that just tastes like dates and syrup. Oh, it was so good. And then, mate, look at that. Just open it and just,
Fuck, that looks good,
phenomenal. Man. I was just, man, I wish I could reach to the screen and grab that right now. This was just amazing. Oh, man, I would give this meal a 9 out of 10. I walked out of there so happy. It was just, it was amazing. It was so good.
Nice
Love it.
anniversary meal.
Now, mate. Oh, yeah, it was brilliant, man. Like, you got to celebrate the little things, man. Now, should we do the accountability of the week, or do you want to skip it and start next week? How soft do you want to be? Do you want to let that inner bitch win, or what?
Fucking hit me, mate. Let's do it. Accountability right now. Let's go.
I'm hard as fucking nails, mate. All right, let's go. Okay. All right, listeners. So we got a new thing. This is the hard thing or accountability of the week. This is shit that Ben and I don't want to do. We've been putting off, but we're all about personal growth, and we're going to hold ourselves accountable, and we're going to be accountable to you, dear listener. And this is the deal. So we've each got a thing, and we need to do the thing. If we don't do the thing, we have to pay $500. And it's going to be $500 a week. So it's ain't going to be cheap if we cheap out and bloody don't do all this stuff. And that $500 is going to a bar tab. And we're going to have a Ben and Bergs meet up at some point in time, and all you degenerate motherfuckers are going to come down, and that bar tab is going to be huge, and it's going to be sick. All right, mate. So I'll let you go
Bergs,
first.
The listeners are screaming for us to not do our account. Screaming for us to not actually achieve the thing. So we all get pissed.
I think the reality is exactly. But even if we're champions and we do, obviously, this has to be hard. It has to be challenging. It has to be things we don't want to do. But even if it's $0 by bloody the end of the year or whatever it is, we're still going to have a time for degenerates, so don't worry about it.
Okay,
It's just how we roll.
Okay, so do you want to go first?
You do yours first.
So
you go.
I travel a lot, as probably most of the listeners probably know, and when it comes to going to the gym, I'm fucking soft. I usually go 2 or 3 times a week because I just can't be fucked sometimes. But I want to get 5 times a week. I want to have that summer bodbergs. Now single, need to have that rig in order for the beaches in Australia back in December, January, like 2 or 3 months to get this bloody absolute mop of a rig in order. So my accountability this week is to go to the gym 5 times in the course of 7 days, right? So I've gone today. I've got until Sunday to complete another 4 gym sessions. Now, I know that for some people we might be absolute heroes now, but I don't know what to say, Bergs. But I have not been able to get to the gym 5 times in a week I don't know how long fucking time. So,
all right, 5 times you've done 1. Now let's put some more rigor around it, mate, because I don't want you to soft out here. So when you go to the gym, you have to at least say you're going to do a thing, like you're going to lift weights a certain amount, or you have to go for a certain amount of time, or what is it, mate? Let's shore this up.
Minimum 45-minute session. I've got an app that I use that gives me workouts. I've got to use the workout app 5 times this week for a minimum 45-minute session. Like proper sweat up. Like none of this fucking bullshit walking backwards on a treadmill for 12 minutes and going home. Like proper pump on.
Amazing. All right, fantastic.
What do you got for
me?
All
right. So mine's actually a similar one, and it's the thing that I hate most, but I need to do the most. And I'm fine with working out. I'll go and lift. I'll do all this shit. But mine is stretching, and in particular, doing yoga. So when I do yoga, this is the best thing for my body. I sit in a chair a lot. I'm lazy as fuck. I still lift, and I get amongst it, but I don't move in the way that I need to move. I fucking hate doing yoga because it hurts. It sucks. It takes up my fucking time. I feel like an idiot because they're all fucking bending like, 180 degrees, all this shit. I'm like, I can't even reach my toes, mate. So it makes me feel like a real idiot, and it hurts. But it is the number one thing I need to do for my body, and I feel so damn good afterwards. So I'm going to commit to yoga 5 times this week. Minimum half an hour. Yeah, minimum half an hour. And I'm just fucking going to get amongst it because that flows onto my life. I don't get angry because I don't have niggling pain or tension, or I can't quite lift properly, and it prevents injury. It just makes my life so much better in every aspect. It is something I need to do, and I'm going to commit to that shit.
Let's fucking go, baby. We're going to have a couple of stretchy, flexible, fit blokes here next week, I tell you.
Oh, mate. And here's the thing. You and I are not allowed to talk about our goals to each other until the next pod
but-
to find out if we've done it or not.
If one of us rocks up real
Awesome, man.
depressed at the start of the pod, you're not going to be happy. We know exactly what's going on.
Oh, mate. That's the thing. I don't care about the $500. I care about letting
Yeah.
everyone down.
Letting down all our listeners that want to get drunk.
It's interesting. Like when I'm... Yeah. It's like if I just commit to myself, I'm like, yeah, whatever. If I've made a promise to someone else, I'm
Yeah.
like, I have to do that. I cannot let them down.
Rightio, dude.
Amazing,
What an
mate.
episode. That was probably my favourite
Let's wrap up.
episode so far. Let us know what you think, everyone. Leave us a comment, send us a tweet, get in our Discord. If you like this episode, feel free to share it around. And we'll see you back next week. Bergs,
Awesome champions.
speak soon.
Catch you then.